I'm Bro. Welcome to Meet the Crew. Today we're going to talk to Nicole. Okay, so here we are today with Nicole, who also claims the title of management here at Brodustrial.
I don't claim it, I'm the boss.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Nicole Browning. I'm married to you, of course. And yeah, I'm the boss.
The boss of the shop.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got drawn into the costuming community?
Let's see, I started dating you, who was into the conventions and the cosplay.
Describe that very first time. So when we started dating, and I had just joined the 501st Legion, got my first costume, and our very first event was New York Comic Con. And it was the first time either of us ever met or experienced any of this costuming community. And back then it was a world of different than it is now, both in membership and costumes and quality of costumes, yeah, everything. We had a great time that first con, right? Mm-hmm. And you saw all these people were, having fun, and the girls were dressed up and the guys were dressed up. So then a couple months later, we were doing the Philadelphia Comic Con. You were like, oh my goodness, I got to get a costume.
Yes.
So what was your first costume? Was
Supergirl.
Supergirl. And that was just a one of those store-bought, the feminine, sexy, Supergirl costumes. And then New York Comic Con came around. You're like, I could do a Star Wars thing now. Yes. So what did you choose?
Hut Slayer Leia, which is Return of the Jedi Leia.
Tell us how you felt in that costume, because again, this is the early days of the costuming community and the cons and the conventions. Big groups of people.
Basically, you feel kind of naked.
We are kind of naked.
But it was more like wearing a bikini. So it was like very comfortable. It was actually the most comfortable costume that you could wear. You had to watch your walking, but other than that, I became known as the Leia with glasses.
Right. There were several slave Leias back in that time frame still. You guys all were close together, and you made friends and, hung out together, watched each other as you walked around the shows and all that.
Yes.
And, got a lot of attention.
I was part of a promotion that I didn't know I was part of a promotion for.
Yeah, you guys all got the attention. So the difference is back in that day, the slave Leia costume that we got you was not an official slave Leia, like officially approvable slave Leia.
No.
And we were still new to the Legion, and some of those things I didn't, I was still catching up on because that was a Rebel Legion costume, and I hadn't really known too much about them yet. The quality costume we had was great. Everyone loved it. It looked fantastic, but it wasn't built with the same materials that were approvable for the Rebel Legion. So that costume wasn't approvable. But because after the cons, we immediately started doing all the charity events and all the fundraising events and all the local community events. And, you participated as a spotter. Mm-hmm. So you helped us out, doing all those things because your costume also wasn't necessarily appropriate for child events and community events, at the time. But it wasn't technically approvable. Mm-hmm. So tell us what you did when you went to the events with us as a spotter and a helper.
I do dress the guys. If they don't have their own spotter, I basically am dressing everyone at the event. Not everybody knows how to dress the guys in these outfits, so I can pretty much put every single outfit on for everybody. I also, when we go out on the floor, wherever we are, games, anything, I do crowd control. I make sure the line is formed. There's a line that's formed correctly. Make sure everybody gets a picture. Make sure everybody gets the right amount of time with the actual cosplayer and the costumed people.
So then as the years went by, obviously you got more into the costuming.
Yes.
I make all the costumes for you because you just, management, the boss gets to just sit there and say, this is what I want, make it. Some of your costumes are right here. The next one I think was we have the Juno Eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
That was an officer costume. What other costumes have you do you have now and have you been wearing?
Well, my favorite is my Idon. I love my Idon Versio from the video game, because the minute we saw the video game, I was like, I want that. And that's the one I'm most comfortable in, because it's comfortable. It's not very overbearing, and you don't have to wear a helmet all the time. Because I have glasses. It's sometimes a little hard to wear a helmet things unless I'm wearing contacts, so I'm not very comfortable with that. So I kind of do like the costumes without the actual helmets.
For the Idon Versio, that was when that came out. We were one of the first groups of people that were building it. Anytime you're building a costume as the first, one of the first costumes, it's difficult because there's no other reference. You're making the reference for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that as we built that, we both documented the build process, what we were doing with photos and descriptions,
Yes.
and I post them on the Jolly Roger forums, which is the 501st attachment for that costume. And then there's a Ladies of the Legion group,
Yes.
and you were also posting stuff and sharing it with them, and you had other ladies that wanted to build it that needed help reaching out to you.
Yes. So I did assist with some people with questions with their Idon Versio.
Right. So that's again in the spirit of the community and the shop. This is what we do: is we like to help others. We share our knowledge. When we figure out how to do something or learn how to do something, we freely and openly give it to other people to help them build the same thing.
It's the Brodustrial way to share. Right. We're not, it's better to share your information, because there's so many people that want to get into it, but there's not a lot of places to find those things.
Right.
So, if we're a spot where you can find it, it's great. It's awesome. We're there to help you,
So what other costumes now? So besides the Idon, the Juno, and what else do we have?
Let's see. Because those are my my Jedi General.
Jedi General.
Love my Jedi General.
So that was technically, I think that was the second costume that you made.
Mm-hmm.
But that was at the time was not officially approvable under the Rebel Legion standards.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that you could wear all the time, and by official standards, if it's not an officially approved costume, when we have the official events like the Lucasfilm or Disney sponsored events, or the sports games, or some of the television appearances, they want us to stick to strictly canon costumes.
Yeah.
But for every other event, so that's something that was community friendly. You could wear that at kids events, libraries and all that.
The funny thing with that is the little girls love that. Yeah. They light up when they see a Jedi General.
Right. So that was one that we liked you wearing, especially at library events and community events, because you could see we have trading cards made up of you in that. So we can show the little girls that, hey, listen, here's someone that's just as cool, as Obi-Wan and the other Jedi, and and someone that's doing costuming with all of us in something that's just as high quality. And then of course you have your First Order TK, but it's not a regular First Order Stormtrooper. It's a femme version of the First Order Stormtrooper.
And I can sit.
Yes.
It makes everyone jealous.
Yeah, that was a great vendor over in California. Made that kit. That was a fun build, and that was another one that we were one of the early stages. We got in one of the early runs of when he offered that.
It's comfortable. It's not as bad as your guys. I don't get little bites, armor
Yeah,
bites.
the armor bites. What's your favorite thing about doing events with us?
I like charity. I like giving back to the community. It's a sense of community as well. It's just all these people that felt like they had nobody to join in or have fun with. We're like welcoming, like, come on in, let's get together, let's make this, let's build this, we can do this. Just the enthusiasm and the giving back. That's what I like the most.
And it's something that we have, 3 children. You have a stepson and then the 2 daughters with me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been around my son's whole life, and he's always been at events with us. Mm-hmm. And then our 2 daughters were born right into it, and they attend events. And is that something that you're happy to see them do?
Yes. I love seeing them, especially with you. It's a bonding thing with you. It's hilarious to see them go, oh, we're going home, I'm wearing this. It's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, we tease everybody. We tease everybody about all that. But we also say a lot that we always tout that it's great. This community, the costume community, the building and the trooping and the 501st and Rebel Legion are very family orientated. And we have our wives and kids. Sometimes not everyone's wife might want to dress up, but they oftentimes do want to come and participate. The kids always want to dress up. So it's great. It's a great hobby that you can make the costume and go to events and you don't have to leave your kids at home, your wife and kids at home. You can bring your whole family with you and they can all hang out and bond and have that stuff together.
Yeah.
And then even here at the shop, I always tell people, we have kids varying from 9, 11, and 16. We have tons of stuff to play with. My wife's always here, so you can bring your kids and wives. So the armor parties we have, you can have your spouse and your friends or significant other and kids come hang out. Circling back to your original costume, the Slave Leia that was not approvable but super popular and super comfortable.
Yes.
15 years later, tell us what we did.
I built the real canon one
So
and got approved.
It took 15 years, but we sourced out an actual approvable kit and built it right here at Brodustrial. Here we are, that many years later, and you're still looking just as good in it. But now it's approvable. Now
Yes.
you have that costume you started with is the last costume that we've made, over the span of our time together, and it's approvable. So how did that feel?
It felt pretty good. It was like, wow.
Still got it.
Here we are.
Thank you for coming, sitting down with us, and we'll go check and see what these guys are doing back here.
I don't hear any noise, so work needs to be done.
Work needs to be done.
You know,
Let's go crack the whip. Okay. All right. Thank you.